Hello and welcome back everyone to Master Game Design, Unreal Engine 5 Stylized Environment and Third-Person Blueprint course. In the last lesson we left ourselves off with a working bell. It's still not animated, but we're going to leave it as is. And now we're going to continue on. This time we're just going to make sure we complete off the luxury area, this section over here. So for us to do that, we're going to begin by, well, checking the gray box itself. And as you can see, we have some elevation for it. The reason being is that it just helps to break off the surface a little bit, and if it was a little too flat, this area wouldn't quite look as well, mainly because the buildings in the back to help us break off the overall visuals for this section, as you can see here, are a little bit taller and higher up than the buildings at the front. So we just add some elevation to help us kind of make sure that they look like they're the same height, whilst at the same time helping us to break off the overall silhouette. Anyways, so with that being said, we're going to go ahead and find ourselves the right staircase. So we're just going to go all the way to the back, and I will actually just grab the staircase that's going to be, there you go, just the basic ones over here. I think we're going to just use actually this one right away. I'm just going to grab it, click W, hold Alt, and just drag it out once, and then the second time I'm just going to drag it normally, like so. And we're going to go ahead and put this all the way to the side, just like that. All right, so let's go ahead and see what we can do with the staircase, because as you can see, it's quite thin. So we can either A, just extend this like so, but in this particular case, I reckon that this stretching is a little too much, I would say. So we can alternatively, I'm going to click Ctrl Z. Alternatively, we can just hold Alt and just drag it to the side. Oh, seems like actually had the persistent level turned on. So let me just go ahead and make sure that we are on the harbor level, like so. We're going to hold Alt and just kind of grab it like so. Might even just take off the gridlock all the way to 5, and there we go. We got ourselves a nice setup for the stairs. I'm going to actually select them both and position them accordingly. So as you can see, it's a little bit too high up, so I'm just going to lower this down just like that. Even higher. Yeah, I think that's going to be quite all right. Okay, and I'm just going to position it like so. All right, this is looking quite nice. I'm going to turn off the gray box in regards to the height. And actually the issue is that now this section there is a gap, so I'm just going to go ahead and fix it by moving it inwards like so. And the reason being for that, okay, we'll grab this a little bit higher. There you go, just by a little bit. There wouldn't be much of a gap here. Anyways, the reason we grabbed it forwards is so we could just hide the gap over here. The elevation is going to be more or less the same as we had for the gray box, which is what we want. And we're going to be blocking off this path. It's going to be a non-playable area anyway, so going to be okay by leaving it out as is. I'm just going to hold Alt, make sure that we, oh sorry, I'm going to go ahead and delete it. I'm going to just grab a simple block, so this one over here actually, and just kind of reposition this over in this area. And again, we just want to make sure that we have like a path looking section over here. I will actually extend this. We don't need to use too many assets in this area. We'll just go ahead and do that. And that looks all right. Let me just go ahead and duplicate it once more to this section over here. And for now, we're going to keep it as is. And we're not going to be expecting the player to walk in this section. We can block it off easily. We're going to need, though, another building over in this section. If we click 1, it looks quite a bit empty. And this area over here, actually, I'll just go ahead and do what I mean. This section over in the corner is just going to be a little bit too straightforward. I want to kind of help it break down the surface a little bit. So we're going to make use another building over in this section over here. And actually, I think I even have it. Yeah, I have it in a gray box as well as another building, just to kind of help break off the surface. Although this is might be still quite a bit flat looking at this in regards to the vertical lines. So what I will do in this particular case is going to be actually just grabbing the reference type of a building from over here. And I'm not sure what happened here. I might have duplicated it twice. It looks like this building has been duplicated twice. I'm not sure why that happened. So for this particular part, it's not an easy fix if I was to just grab the entire thing, since there are duplicates. So what I'm going to do actually real quick, I'm just going to just delete this since there seems to have been a duplicate issue. So I will need to go back. Actually, I'll click Control Shift and S to save it all. I will go back to the harbor pack real quick and just grab the building that I need basically. So this one over here. I'm going to just go to the top view, select this entire mesh like so. And now if we click F, we can see that everything gets selected. So I'm just going to go ahead and just deselect every single piece like so. Actually, there you go. Now it's only this that's been selected. I'm going to actually click Control G to make it easier for myself, and going to go hit Control C to copy it, go back to the content browser, go on to this area. Yeah, let's go ahead and save this out. I'm going to go to the perspective view, click Control V, and I forgot again that the level was not selected the right one. So let me just go ahead and go back onto the level real quick, click Control C over here, go on to the harbor pack, and now make sure that the harbor items is selected, click Control V, and there we go. We've got ourselves a building just like that. So let's go ahead and start off with positioning this properly. So we're going to actually just go back onto the gray box, see where the general section is. And I'm going to go ahead and just do it like so. Something of that sort. I'm just working mainly with the height at the moment, thinking how this is going to fit in general. And I'm going to click 1 and see how it looks like about gray box. I'm not quite liking this this entrance over here. Maybe I'll go ahead and flip it around actually, or I'll just lower this down a little bit, offset it, so this still leaves a bit of an empty gap. So maybe I'll add like a balcony or something of the sort in this section. And I'll turn on the gray box real quick just so I could readjust the height perhaps. And I don't want this red in the background to be this high up. In comparison, if you look over here, it doesn't have that same height. It drags the entire line of perspective. If I were to just show you real quick, it draws the entire line of perception like over to the top middle section, and that's exactly what we want basically. We want it to be like pointing upwards, and this is like the main piece, the clock tower. So what we're going to do over here is we're going to go ahead and turn off the gray box and just click 1, reposition this a little bit extra, making sure that it doesn't overlap with the harbor. I'm just going to go bring it backwards just a little bit like so. Actually, I'm going to take it down quite a bit. Let's see how this looks like. I'm going to take off the gray box. This looks quite nice. I quite like it. I might need to bring it inwards a little bit like so. And then afterwards, I might need to even remove this section over here, and especially this section at the back. So I'm going to, after I'm done with the positioning, maybe get a little bit backwards like so. All right, so I'm quite happy with the positioning. So now what I'm going to do is, well, I'll just actually bring it a little bit to the side. I'm going to click 1 just to make sure it looks quite nice overall. And I think this is looking quite all right. Okay, so, what we need to do now is to make sure that it kind of fits in with the rest of the world. I'm not worried about the rain overlapping and whatnot. We can always go ahead and go back to fix that. But what I am worried about is how it's going to behave for the top subsection over here. So this red tent, for example, in the back is not looking quite as well. I'm going to, after I'm done with this, I'm going to go onto the outliner, going to create a new folder for this luxury house. And I'm just going to go ahead and rename this actually. So it would be quite all right for that. Yeah, let's go ahead and just rename it. I'm going to call this one like mansion or something of the sort. And we should be quite all right for that. We can now go ahead and click Shift and G, and we should be able to just right click, select all descendants, and it's going to select it all for us. Okay, so to adjust this, we're going to first of all remove the top section over here. Going to also maybe grab like a roof section. I'm going to click 1 and see how this looks like. It might need to be lower down, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to just grab all of these parts over here, lower it down by quite a bit, like so. Yeah, that looks quite nice. Much nicer overall. I'm not sure about this section over here, so I'm just going to actually go ahead and delete it. It had a bell as well, so we don't want it to be just looking like too much of a duplicate in this section. It's too forefront. If it was more of a background, I would have considered keeping it, but for this particular case, it's not going to work out. So let's go ahead and remove that. I might just grab this though, hold Alt, and just put it up over here to help up to break off the surface a little bit. I'll just lower it down quite a bit and see how this looks like. And right now, as you can see over here, we have a bit of an issue in regards to the silhouette itself. And what I mean by that is that it kind of just looks like one and the same piece when looking from this angle. And I don't really like that. I want to either raise it up a little bit to help to break off the shape, or lower it down completely or even remove it. But I will just keep it raised a little bit like so to just help up break off the surface a little bit like so. I might even consider changing the angle a little bit. Something like this. Doesn't look too nice. I like it in the middle, so I'm just going to keep it in the middle like so. And yeah, I think that looks quite all right. We just need to make sure we fix up the top section of the roof. So let me just go ahead and do that. I'm going to grab this part over here, hold Alt, and just bring it upwards like so. And now we're going to need to incorporate this entire section into the building itself, into the world that is. And what I mean by that is we need to, well, actually, lower this down. This looks quite nice. There you go. We need to make sure that this section over here doesn't look like it's just floating around. We need to make sure that there's no gap over here and things like that. And also we need to maybe just help it break down a little bit the surface. We can also lower this door down. So I'm just going to grab it, lower this down like so. And these windows over here as well, might as well do that just like that. We can now have like a balcony over on the side, which I'm going to actually do right away. I'm going to select all the balcony pieces from here. I'm going to hold Alt, duplicate it like so, going to move it to the side. And now without deselecting it, what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to right click on the selection itself within the outliner, and I'm going to just select move to, and I'm going to just find the mansion folder. So this way it's going to be set within the same folder as this mansion section over here. So we're just going to make sure we keep it organized in case we want to come back and just kind of fix up certain parts. And I'm going to click one to see how this looks like. Maybe I'm not even sure about this door being over here because I'd like to ideally have a nice balcony over in this section. It definitely helps to break off the surface. So if we look at the overall section over here, it definitely looks much nicer with the surface, the overall silhouette just being broken up a little bit, and this just being nicer type of a section, whilst at the same time it's still going in the pattern of just like diagonal line going towards this bell section over here. So I think all in all, we're going to keep this balcony like so. We're going to go ahead and actually just remove these doors, and it looks a little bit flat perhaps, but if I were to lower this, I might get away with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and try that. I'm going to lower it like so. I'm going to click one and see how it looks like. It looks quite all right. I don't like this wall being stuck out a little bit too much, so I'm going to go ahead and just bring it inwards like so. And I'm not sure why do we even need this door. I'm going to try deleting it, and we do actually need this door, not door wall, because otherwise it's going to be quite visible with the pattern on the side. For this, we can either try lowering it and just upscaling it, which I think I'm going to do like so, just to kind of get it back up on shape. We're going to fix up with the terrain. This section over here, we might just grab this part, or actually I'm going to grab this entire section like so. So both the parts are selected. I'm going to just make use out of it, just like that. I'm going to put it up on the side like so, making sure we aligning it and putting it on to this area like so. Maybe I need to also kind of make sure that we have a proper path over here on this end. And this is not going to be the main playable area, but it might be like a couple of props over on the side or something of the sort. We just need to make sure that it looks quite nice when looking from this specific angle. So I think that's going to be it in regards to that. We still have like some polishing to do for this entire area, but all in all, I think we can just leave it in for now. and keep this harbor as is. So yeah, that's going to be it for the mansion section. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be seeing